How do you learn who you really are? It's not found in books, it's found on the battlefield. All right, what's up, warriors? Welcome back to the Battlefield of Mind. Today, I'm with the Dad Bod veteran, John Wellington. So, the Dad Bod veteran, please tell the people who you are, what you do. If they're probably following you before they were following me anyway, so let them know.
I'm a content creator who's been doing this for almost 2 years now. Other than that, outside in the real world, I still hold a real job, and I got a bunch of kids, and I'm a Navy vet, so did that too way along. And I don't know how to do this part. This is weird. The weird part of acting like you're a celebrity and telling everybody about yourself. But
Well, I feel like you did it.
yeah,
Like you did it.
yeah.
Hey, I did some cool stuff. You should check it out. You just tell them, like, hey, if you want to check it out here, and then we can get going.
Okay, yeah. I'm the Dad Bod veteran, as so the little sign over there says. Content creator for about 2 years now. If you want to look me up on any of the socials, just look for the Dad Bod veteran and excuse all the spoof fake accounts there are out there, and check out my stuff. Mostly Gen X related comedy. Reactional comedy is what it's turned into, but it originated as kind of the stories of the times before and kind of how it was like growing up in the Gen X era. So
Yeah,
that's me.
you know
I'm
what's
happy to be
even
here, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you too. Beer, great beer. That salt and pepper is in right now.
I know that's all the rage.
So the Gen X thing. Here's a funny thing. I'm wondering how many people don't know what age Gen X is.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sure there's people who are
we're forget. I mean, half of the statistics forget about us, so that's okay.
That also true. Everyone's millennial, right?
Yeah, everybody's a millennial, or they're a boomer. Like they just skip right over Gen X. It's 65 to 80, according to the majority of the stuff that I've read. But then there's this weird crossover. I call them the daywalkers, the Zennials. Those of us who fall into the 76, usually to about 83, 84 time period. I call them the daywalkers because they're too feral to be in the house, but they're a little bit too housebroken to stay outside all day long. So
domesticated.
Yeah, they're a little domesticated, but they can understand the Gen X ways and still work through that transition into the millennials and understand technology and things like that. Where some of those older Gen Xers they're a little rigid, if you will,
a little set in their ways,
a little almost boomerish.
Still fighting for just their one political party.
That's right.
There's more to us than that, right?
Right.
Exactly. It's not a real team, right? Your team didn't win. You know that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't even pick the captain. You know that, right? No, it's funny, man. So what are some of the funny things you're noticing with the stuff you're doing? Because there's a lot of really silly things I'm watching that you're like, okay, first off, we got to save some people on this one. Don't cut off the ends on your tires. Those aren't antennas. People who are just telling people to do crazy things. And I got to say, I don't spend very much time on my social media. So how long are you having people search these, John, this is the craziest shit. Make a video with this.
I literally have more offers to do stuff like that than I have time to do them all. I forget more than I actually do, honestly.
That's funny.
It's weird. And I don't know when social media became a platform for Idiocracy, because that's kind of like a staple of my platform. This is like we're on the road to Idiocracy. Yeah. I don't know when that happened, but I feel like it's picking up speed, and I feel like there's no one to sanitize it, and that's kind of the space that I'm fitting in, is the reality check of no, we probably shouldn't do that. We really shouldn't do that.
It's a really interesting time because psych wise, there's some terrible things happening, but comedy wise, it's fucking silly. There's it's at some point you're like, that's not a thing. My daughter is actually, she even with this thing where the Idiocracy, so how Terry Crews was the president and he was the world wrestling champion and the president of the United States. Well, my daughter just went to college this year. It's her first year in college. And she was showing me the thing where Megan Thee Stallion is doing the opening for Kamala Harris. And she's got to bleep out every other word because the whole word is shit, hose, bitch. And the hashtag was hose for Harris. And I said, you're fucking with me. That's not a real thing. She's like, no, it's a real thing. I'll show you the video. And I was like, there's no way they got a rapper half naked dancing up there with a bunch of backup dancers and talking, like having to bleep out her own words. Hashtag hose for Harris. The amount of pandering and shenanigans that is, there's no way that's a thing. You're fucking with me. She's like, here's the video.
I feel like we're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen. We don't want it to happen. We all look at it and we like, it's like that train, you know, everybody's kind of deer in the headlights at the train. We're all looking at it. We're like, oh, that's coming right at us. We can't actually turn away. We can't turn away because we're mesmerized.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful, but it's going to kill us all. And it's wild.
It's so shiny.
I don't know how we got away from it. I mean, and it created a space for me, which is the weird part. I'm like, at the same time, I'm asking for it to stop, but at the same time, I'm not. Because if it stopped, then I'm going to have to pivot, and I don't know what else I'm going to do. I don't know, maybe I'm going to start a cooking channel or something like that.
Yeah, but you're a wonderful cook, so it's going to be a great show.
I'm not the cook in the house.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's going to be even better show.
Yeah, right. It's going to be a shit show.
Yeah, this is called What Not to Do Cooking Show. First off, let's get into my world famous recipe that no one's ever going to want to try.
Do not cook this at home. That's not a bad idea, actually.
I'm going to put this in there. This is what you should not do.
This is what you should not put in there. No hot sauce in your cereal. Just don't do it.
Well, it depends on the cereal. So there's a lot going on in here. A lot of funny stuff, man. What's some of the funny stuff that you're seeing out there right now where you're like, this just, how are we gonna even get around this? There's got to be stuff that just always comes up.
Yeah, routinely it's stuff with vehicles, kids and vehicles. I mean, that's probably the most common one. I could probably write a book on, and that's what I even said in that last one with the GPS. I'm like, my page is turning like a new age shade tree mechanic.
Dude, the kids. Serpentine belt one for every 10,000 miles. I was like, what is this?
Or the jumper cable one where they had the reverse jumper cable, then it was like melting. It's like, oh my God, kids, come on. The bald tire one, that's just...
Yeah. You're like, if you're racing, awesome. If you're driving next to me on the freeway,
no, this is not okay. This is not okay. I don't want you there. I want you somewhere else, far away.
Yeah.
But it's true. I mean, I don't think the kids are taught like we were, and I'm sounding like an old person now, but you know, I was kind of I had a minimum number of things that I had to know how to do to the car before I could even go get my license. You know, it was change a tire, jump start it, and do some of these basic things. And then of course that evolved into me tinkering with it. Sure. But they couldn't do it if they had to. And it's not just their fault, right? The technology in the cars is like way beyond anything. If you touch it, you're going to break the whole thing. So they shouldn't be touching it. But they couldn't change a tire if they had to. And that's scary.
It is very scary.
That's scary. Like, I know that a lot of these people that I'm hitting on are satire, right? They're doing it on purpose. But the reality is that there's so many kids out there that don't know when it's time to change a tire, right? They don't know that you stick the penny in the tread and you know if you can see Lincoln's head, you're good, right?
Yeah, or there's such a low amount of critical thinking that they actually will start like chopping the ends off their tires because like that's a GPS and I don't want to get tracked.
Right.
And you're like, that's not a GPS thing, dude. Like that's how you put the air in the tires. What are you talking about?
It's not. And you know, like I remember we had a Chilton's manual in the bathroom. You know what I mean? We were reading that thing for fun because we didn't have the phone. Yeah. So it's either that or the shampoo bottle. That's what we got to.
And the shampoo was just hard to sound them out. So I'm just going back to the Chilton's book.
The Chilton's manual. I can tell you how to pull that V8. I can tell you how to pull it. Whole thing.
I know which bolts. And working on cars is still brutal, man. I did, you know, I'm gonna throw it out there. I just it was probably I think 2.5, maybe 3 weeks ago. I had to work on a piece in the steering wheel column that was like in the very back of the steering wheel column, this little rubber piece in the steering wheel column. And in order to get to it, I had to take all of it apart and drop the entire steering wheel shaft just to get to this weird thing. I had to use little Allen wrenches to get to. It was probably one of the top 5 hardest jobs I've ever done. I do hard shit all the time. Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, this is like a 2-person job because I had to like push the whole, I'm laying down on the ground and they're pushing the whole shaft off, just trying to line this one bolt up. I'm like sweating, like I've got a gun to my head while I'm doing this thing. And I'm like, this is actually pushing my limit right now. I'm like, I'm frustrated. And these are just things that people like, they're like, I don't think that's a real thing. I'm pretty sure it's just radio and pedals. And I'm like, no, there's a bunch of pieces inside it.
There's a lot of pieces in
there's
there.
50 wires hooked up in this thing. There's a lot
Right.
happening. And they're like, I don't see any of those. That's not a thing. It's just, those are probably just for the radio.
Yeah, and you can't change the radio now either. If you have a car that's like 2020 or beyond, you can't actually change the radio out. So there's no point. It's all
how do you
connected to the engine somehow.
How do we put those subs in there, man? I got woofers and stuff.
I remember that. I had those in my back dash.
Yeah,
76 Firebird had two 12s in the back dash.
Mm-hmm. But we didn't
knock the back window out.
The window still just shook and made it sound terrible.
Yeah.
So like the system,
and we did it all ourselves, right? We did everything ourselves.
Running the wires all the way down and then having to cover them up in the carpet.
Some janky wires hanging out all over the place. So like, don't step there. You're going to knock my amp off.
Dude, watch the amp. Come on, man.
Yeah, seriously, watch my amp. It's kind of under the seat, kind of.
That's cool. Well, in this case, I'm going to get into some funnier stuff then. Like we can go into the deep stuff if you ever want to. But all right, I got remember the Family Guy thing? Like, you know what really grinds my gears?
Yeah.
All right, give me something that's like, you know what, man? You know what grinds my gears today? You know what's the thing that like if I could do a genie wish, I'd fix this thing right now. I would give you like, all right, John, I'm your genie. We just rub the lamp. And with something that grinds your gears, I will genie this thing away for you, man.
You know, that's hard for me because as I want to say as experienced as I am in the world, and you know, not toot my own horn, but I'm so like passive about so many things because of the fact that I'm just like, oh, that's just the world, and I'm just here for a little bit more time, and then eventually I get to cash out, and I don't really care what happens. But I don't know. What do I think about? I think that if you could get rid of people's obsession with politics, that'd be huge.
Yeah,
that'd be huge because there are people that are, you know, even in my world that try to polarize me and they try to put me in a bucket, and I'm completely anti-politics. Like I don't touch it with a 10-foot pole. I don't care what your thoughts or opinions are, and maybe that's the real Gen Xer in me, is I really just don't care. You guys do whatever you want to do, but don't bring it into my space because I don't care. And I guess I cater to a certain group of people with my content. That's not by intention. It's just that's where it goes, and that group may have a particular political preference, but that's not me. And so get rid of that.
Yeah, I think your wish is already being granted because like this last 4 years especially, it's made like small pockets of really extreme people. But I have a very hard time like meeting people who fall really polarized these days. They're like, oh no, the whole thing's a construct and bullshit. Like it's all obviously a gimmick and it's an algorithm game. We're aware now that there's a programming that's happening here. And you know, again though, I don't think that I'm in like the below average conversation circles. I'm in like the high psych circles, the arena speakers. I'm in the people who are like, no, we pay attention and we watch what's happening. That's not a real thing. So I also could be a little bit on the enlightened end. So maybe I'm not the best. Best because I don't think it's a real thing, man.
I don't. I think that well, then maybe I have a propensity to gravitate towards those people with my content because I feel like I see them a lot, and I feel like if I go anything that would even appear to be somewhat on the other side, I get nailed for it in the comments.
It's because you have veteran in the name.
Yeah, I know, which is weird.
It means like you have to fit a demographic.
Yeah, I don't. I have a veteran in the name because I'm a veteran, right?
Served, yeah.
Same thing with the dad bod. I mean, I'm not going to call myself, say skinny things. I'm a big guy. It's weird. Like, and I've got 3 other really close content creator friends, and we're all unintentionally pigeoned into certain demographics. You know what I mean?
I saw that. I saw I was watching a couple of your episodes that you guys had up. Like I was watching the delete this episode one. Like, so you guys have your podcast. We got like four different like people who are different. They all have different things, right?
Well, so I have a podcast of my own, right? And that's my Check Your Feelings podcast. And that is me, my sister, Mrs. Dad Bod, and my brother-in-law. And we do that in the living room where we just set up a whole set studio in there and do that. But then my other group of friends are Gen Xers. We're big content creators, and we're doing this Gen X takeover tour. Right, we just did our first stop in Nashville. We're going to Cleveland next in November. But if you look at the spectrum of us, it's myself. Her name is Kelly Mono, Slim Sherry, and Mr. Professor Nick Harrison. We all are pigeonholed into a certain demographic because of who we are and where we came from, right? And kind of a little bit towards what our content does, but we all get pigeoned into these certain little demographics, and it's interesting because none of us are.
Mm-hmm.
None of us are that demographic purely, right? We're politically agnostic, and we don't really care about all that stuff. But we are all naturally pigeonholed by our looks, by our how we talk, how we present ourselves, etc., into a certain demographic. I think it's a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing.
It is a horrible thing. I'll be very open. I don't know if I am or not. I don't even check. I'm assuming I'm a white guy with
you're going to be close
beard.
To mine, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's got to be. Got to be.
Just by presentation.
It's fantastic. Thank you.
Depends.
Outstanding. Hose for Harris. Let's go.
See, I would love to touch that one, but I won't touch it because it's political.
It's nonsense. It's obvious. It's the idiocracy part.
Yeah.
That's why I find it's funny, because I'm watching more Idiocracy, where you're seeing like really, really smart people going, it's just not the right time to have a kid. It's a really volatile time. It's not a good time to have a kid. We got to just slow down. Not the best time.
That not so bright high school football player. I'm gonna go, y'all.
Yep. You got all the hillbillies and the poverty areas just running kids everywhere. And you're like, dang.
Man.
Like we're turning
it was not meant to be a prophecy. It was supposed to be a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
But they ruined it. And here's the kicker: everybody's wearing Crocs in that movie.
Oh, that didn't realize that.
You know the story behind that? There's a story behind that. So it was a low budget movie, and the costume designers were looking for something that would look futuristic and stupid, etc. And at that time, Crocs weren't big. So he said, look, I got an idea for this company. Let's just have them outfit everything, right? And he took it to the director, and the director's like, I don't know, this thing could turn into something popular in the future, and then, where are we going to be? And the costume designer was like, there's no way. It will never turn into anything popular. There's no way. These are like plastic boat shoes, right? And poof, here we are, as I have Crocs on my feet right now.
Our girls got Crocs. I do not have Crocs.
I love them.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's life changing. I know. I hate it. I love it at the same time. It's life changing. I'll never wear them outside of the house, though. I don't wear them outside of the house.
Kind of like that whole pants thing you talked about.
I don't wear pants. I hate pants. Pants are the dumbest things ever. I live in South Carolina, where our seasons are hot, warm, and hurricane. Okay, yeah. We don't have a winter. My winter consists of I put a hoodie on. And that's about as extreme as it ever gets. But pants, no. Tutu pants. Peasants? Who wears pants?
For peasants. Pants are for peasants. That's good
for peasants.
Make the episode. Yeah, just got to remind you guys, any of you wearing pants, grow up.
Peasants.
Grow up, peasants. Evolve. Evolve, right. Please. It's time. Get your Crocs. Stop wearing pants. It's time to evolve and grow up.
As I put it, Idiocracy. Sponsored by Carl's Jr.
Yes. Sponsored by Bojangles.
Yeah.
Come and get a hand job. So it's so very, very funny. Yeah, it's a funny world we're in right now, man. As much as I'd love it to be just the comedy element of Idiocracy, there's a really sad element to it. And it's tough. I'm going to Hero Stock. So this is recorded 9/11/24. Ironically, I got the Dad Bod Veteran on 9/11, which we won't get into, but like, hey, it's fitting, so
yeah, it's very ironic that we're doing this today. Very ironic
for those who served. But I'm going to Hero Stock, and so we've had Jason Steiner on the show, so we're going this weekend. It'd be like a cool thing to be able to just put out, but we're really doing a lot of work to help out the veterans right now.
That's awesome.
It's at 44 a day. 44 a day. It's 44. It's doubled, especially since COVID. It's doubled. And it used to be 22 a day. Now it's at 44. And that's not including first responders, which we got to do the shout out for.
Right.
You can't find numbers for firefighters. Can't find it. But Jason was just talking to people, and he was like, there was even in this one community, there's 9 firefighters that unalived themselves in the last couple months. Like
Wow.
because you got to remember, these guys are also on a daily basis seeing like people
Bad stuff.
decapitated in
Yep.
cars, and terrible things, watching children who burned in a building and stuff. Like they're seeing nightmares on a daily basis, and who's there to help them?
Right.
So I've been working with I've been helping police officers. There's a police station that wants to build a program for being able to help through grief that doesn't make it so there's a shame system around mental health, which is one of the bigger issues in the community right now. But 44 a day, and we got to make sure our veterans are learning how to do much better grieving and coping systems, so that way they don't end up becoming another statistic. It's a sad thing that's happened right now. So shout out to all first responders and veterans, people out there who have served, and we're trying now to serve those who served. It's a scary world for our people we love,
Yeah, that's good stuff, though. That's good stuff that you're helping out.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So that's all right. Now that we got the serious stuff, we'll be there for our guys.
We will.
All right. So what's next for you, man? You got tours coming up. You got all kinds of things that are happening. Like, what's the stuff you're like, dude, I'm real excited. Life is cool.
I have no idea. I'm just kind of along for the ride, and I say yes to everything.
Well, you're doing this comedy thing, right? I saw you doing stand up, and
yeah, I did stand up for the first time. That was really stressful and wild.
Why?
Because I'm actually a corporate guy.
What do you mean by that? You're a corporate guy?
I am actually a corporate guy by day. I do still have a corporate job, and I have worked in the outside of as soon as I got out of the military, went to school and got my degrees, and I've been in the corporate world for 20 years now. And I never thought that my world would take a path to where I'm doing stand-up comedy, not just once, but then on a tour. And the weird part is we're skipping lines. Like our group, the Gen X group, we are skipping lines, because people will work the comedy bit for years in, open mics and things like that. We hit it once in Nashville, sold out 2 shows, and now we're going, and it was a smaller venue, but now we're going into a much larger venue in Cleveland, and we're going to sell that out too. And then it's just going to snowball and snowball there. We've even got a cruise that will be announced here very soon for November of next year, where we're going to do a takeover of the high seas is what we're going to call it. And so this adventure of being a social media creator has taken me to places that I could have never imagined even as a kid. You know what I mean? Because as a kid, you think I could do cool stuff. I could be a policeman. I could be a firefighter. I could be this, that, and the other. You never think that after a career in the military and then a career in the corporate world, you're going to be doing stand-up comedy and touring the world to thousands of people, and all because of the fact that you had a little bit too much time on your hand and a phone. I mean, it's mind-boggling to me to think that this is a thing. I have a really good friend that I talk to. He lives in Maryland now, and I call him every once in a while, and he will just laugh at me because I'll update him and I'll just say, hey, this is what's going on. He just laughs at me. He said, the world is so stupid because you get to do this. And it is. It's true, because I mean, we were troublemakers when we were kids. We were not planning to do anything with our lives. We were the idiots of the class. I think we co-signed each other's diploma. You know what I mean? It's kind of, we helped each other actually graduate. We marginally made passing grades at best. And here I am, having the opportunity to do this and being able to say yes to everything is really fun and really cool. So we are, like we said, we're doing a tour, the Gen X Takeover Tour. There will be, has not been announced yet, but there will be several stops throughout the United States in 2025, including that cruise that's going to take place in November. And there's even discussions among the small group of going international with it because we have some desire, especially over in the UK. I have a very strong following in Australia. I don't know why I have a strong following in the international community. Maybe it's the accent that I put on. Maybe the algorithm pushes it to them. I have the biggest international following of all the 4 of us. But, we're looking at maybe getting outside and going beyond the borders of the U.S. So it's crazy. It's crazy because I don't take this thing for granted, because it's not supposed to be my life. Let's say it that way. My life was supposed to be work in a corporate world, have a family, do my best, and leave a legacy of some sort to my kids. And I'm doing something completely different than that. So I'm humbled and honored to be able to do it. And I can't wait to see what happens next is really the real point.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, God works weird, man. Like just stuff will start coming in, opportunities, and you're gonna be like, didn't see that coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a funny thing. I'm gonna be a little psych on this one, but it's funny when people get so caught up in uncertainty. They get like the anxiety. It's like 50% are diagnosed with anxiety these days. Like, I just don't know. I just don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen. And I think they forget what you just said. Where on one hand, yeah, there's some bad things I guess that could happen, but probably
Oh yeah.
won't. But on the other hand, there's also stuff that's better than you've ever been exposed to also. And I think people forget, like, you don't know how good it can be because you just haven't seen that yet. And that's also in the uncertainty part too, is better than you've ever known.
Yeah.
And so you're
My
like, I don't know where that's going. It's like, it's pretty awesome. Is where it's going.
my ex-wife actually calls me all the time to get motivation to take risks because she said, you're just a risk taker. I said, well, I'm a calculated risk taker, but I will take risks. And she won't. Right. And so she calls me to get some kind of bandwagon to help her take risks. But in all reality, my personal opinion is that you get one time on this world, right? And you don't know how many rotations around the earth you're going to get. Take every risk you can if you think it's going to make your life a little bit better, because you don't know what's behind that curtain. You know what I mean? I tell that to my son all the time. He's in the Navy. I was like, dude, take every chance you can. If they offer you something, take it. You just don't know where it's going to lead. He's like, no, nobody wants to do that because it's Navy, never again volunteer yourself. I'm like, but that's where all the successes can come from, is by stepping out of your comfort zone and taking a risk on something that you don't know what the outcome is going to be. That's the only way you're going to get anything different in life, is by taking a risk, because nobody's going to force you to do something different, or otherwise you're just going to sit there.
I think it's funny when people don't say out loud the other side. They're like, hey, can you motivate me and help me with the risk element of things? And I go the other way, because yes, I can teach you this, but sell me the other version of what you're thinking of doing. Like, sell me the never try anything, right, stay in my own little, like, sell me the thing that you're doing, and let's see if you can buy it yourself. Like, tell me how I'm not going to go for it. I'm going to stay at home all day long. I'm not going to try and dream. I'm not going to try and be happy on something that would fulfill me. I'm not going to go for it. Like, sell it to me on that, on what you're planning on doing before I motivate you.
How does that go?
Like, as soon as you try saying it out loud, it starts sounding stupider and stupider. When I say it out loud, I'm like, cool. So I think you just motivated yourself.
Right. You don't have to sell that. You don't have to sell the risk.
Yeah, you realized your original plan before you called me is shit, and so you don't have to do that anymore.
Like, now I will say there's a huge shift that happened when this all started in my life, right? Because this didn't happen because of the fact that I wanted to make content. It happened for a very specific reason, and there's a story. If you haven't, I've told the story a couple of times, but maybe you haven't heard the story. But basically, I had my first child at the age of 18. So I've been a dad my whole life. And between me and Mrs. Dadbod, we have 5 kids total. 3 of them are mine, 2 of them are hers. And so my youngest was going to boot camp, and he's been in for 2 years now. And this was my last kid at home. And so when he was planning to go in August, he got an offer to go earlier, and they were going to give him a big old sign-on bonus, whatever. And he took the offer, and he ended up leaving like the next week after he graduated from high school, which was not part of the plan, right? I thought I was going to have more time. We were going to hang out, etc. And I didn't know that empty nester syndrome was a little bit of a depressive state. And so I went bad. I mean, I went really bad, because I literally lived my entire adult life as a dad, making all my risk decisions based on the benefit of my family. And now I'm in a situation where I have to do whatever I want to do, for myself and for Mrs. DBV, without having the kids to take care of, and without them being the driver for how I decide. And it happened on accident. The whole social media thing was, I started creating content, and some of it was ugly. And then one day I said, well, why don't I think about what's next in life? And that was my grandchildren. And originally, if, like you said, your wife's been watching me for a while, if you go back to my really, really old content, it was all storytelling of the times before. It was like, what was the world like before, today, right? And that's where the times before came from. And what that was actually me telling stories to my grandkids with a grandfatherly voice that I created, that I would want to have stories told to me. And so that's where the voice actually came from. And then it morphed into this reaction guy that he is right now. But it was never intentional for any of this to happen, but it was all based on the shift that was occurring in my life, and the transition from being a dad to being, somebody that looks after themselves and thinks about their grandkids, which I still don't have grandkids. So I beat on my kids all the time about that, but
They'll work on it. They're practicing, John, so they'll figure it out.
we are putting statistical bets on which kid is the most probable. And out of the 5, the youngest is probably the 95% probable, which is scary. I think we've got 3 that are just a 0%. So really we only have about a 2 out of 5 shot. It's horrible.
You made smart ones. Idiocracy, man.
I know.
It's just never
right?
going to be the right time. It's never going to be the right
Never
time.
going to be the right time. It's not right for me.
I love that this started off because of the concept of legacy, though. Where you're like, I'm going to tell a story to my grandchildren about what it was like. And like, this is like the story of grandpa telling the story. And very cool that legacy became a part of what helped give you purpose. And, how you took that into the imaginary realm, like a possible, like, for the future, I'll make a video log for you guys.
Yeah, make a video log. The real reason is that my father passed away when he was 39. He died of cancer that he got when he was in the military. And so I was, at that time, I was already past 40, right? And me and my brother always had this quiet, competition to see who was going to die first, and both of us are still here. So everything after 40 has been extra innings for me in my mental state, right? Because I didn't know a world past that. In my, I had the opportunity that I was past that point, and I never had videos of my dad telling me stories for my kids. So that was where the logic was in my mind to do something different with the time that I had, which was a lot, to create these stories. So it has a generational, kind of influence on how we got to where we are today. But it all ties together in this perfect little cauldron to create what the heck this dad bod veteran is.
Which is evolving so fast, because you went from like, I'm going to tell stories to my grandkids to just making fun of funny things to now you're actually doing tours, like an international comedy tour.
It's crazy.
Yeah, what's next? You mean movies? You got?
I have no idea.
Your first
but I'm saying yes to everything. I'm saying yes to everything.
Yes
just
Man
don't know
movie?
where it's gonna go. If I say no to something, I'll feel like I robbed myself, and I robbed everybody else.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it too. And like, it's kind of weird how stuff evolves very fast, like very fast. And one thing too, it's funny you say you lived in this place, this corporate world that was so limiting. Like, you can only dream this big. You can only dream inside these parameters. And then once you start just going like, I think I'm going to remove the blinders that you guys put on, that's like, that's how big you're allowed to believe. And now how much opportunity is out there now that you have these blinders removed?
Oh, it's crazy. I can't even fathom the edges of this thing. I really can't.
When I tell people that, it's so weird, because right now the world is so hell-bent on limiting potential and limiting beliefs that once you remove that blinder, like I talk to people and I'm like, dude, there's opportunity fucking everywhere. It's there's too much even to conceive. Like, I can see so many opportunities, and they're like, yeah, but the way that I've always done it was this way. I'm like, yeah, but that one's done. Like, but if you remove that, like, take the blinders off, there's 10,000 things. And if you want to know what you can do next, what do you hate the most right now? Oh, they're like, oh, I fucking hate this. I'm like, then fix that. And now you make a new opportunity.
Correct.
That's everywhere. As much as you could complain, then do a thing that fixes it. Now you provide a service that other people are complaining about too, that is now solved. There's your $1 million. Go get it.
Yeah. Yep. And one of my biggest fears when it comes to that corporate world was I was afraid that they were going to find out. and I was afraid that they weren't going to like it and that they were going to fire me. But there was a point in which I just said, you know what? I only get one life, and I'm already in extra innings, so who cares, right? Let's just go for it.
Extra
So
innings.
as soon as I started that, my boss became one of my biggest fans.
Get out.
And when NASCAR invited me out to Nashville to go to the race and do content there, I called him. I said, "Hey man, you want to go to Nashville with me?" And he was like, "Hell yeah!" And he was my second. I kind of let him be my entourage, if you will, while we're at the NASCAR race in the pit crew. And he knows so much about NASCAR, which was crazy, a lot more than I did. His dad was on a pit crew or something back in the '80s, and we had a great time. And we really had a great time. And now it's like, he's like, "Hey man, I just hope you don't quit." Whereas before I was like, he's going to fire me. you know?
Yeah.
He's like, "No, I hope you don't quit, man. I just want to keep you as long as I can." And it's really, we are so constrained by our own fears.
Correct.
We really are.
That don't exist.
Every human, that don't exist. None of them have materialized. It's just fear.
Yeah.
Until it materializes, it's then, tragedy and you have to deal with it. But before that time, it's just a barrier to anything.
Well, even tragedy is debatable.
Right. Tragedy is also, it's emotionally influenced.
Yeah, it's either a tragedy or it just happened.
Yeah.
Like that happened.
And it's going to happen.
That happened.
It's going to happen. We're all going to check out of here at some point. It's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad for the people that are left behind us, but it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is why I train grief so hard, is because like that stuff is like that happened, man. And you get so caught up in the woulds and coulds and shoulds of either bargaining or fear, where we get into all the things that like, oh no, 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 or I wish. And you're like, you're not present. Are you, which make-believe or abstract world are you in right now? Which is a superpower, by the way. It's awesome that you can go into possible futures.
These protective states.
Yeah, and have an entire experience in an imaginary world. That's pretty fucking amazing. You have a superpower. Also, part of the cure to anxiety is recognizing you're not broken, you're brilliant. You are creating abstract universes and bringing your emotions with you.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's a superpower. You're like time traveling, dude. That's amazing. And so it's pretty, whenever I do anxiety training, it's pretty amazing how quickly, if you just change the belief systems around that you go like, you're fighting nothing because fear isn't real. Like there's nothing there. And if you have presence in the present, and I was like, John, listen, I'm just going to tell you, I'm freaked out, man. Lions, dude. If a fucking lion was in here, like I can't fight a lion. Like, I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm fucking freaking out right now. The lions. And you're like, dude, look around. There's no lions in here, man.
Yeah, there's no lions.
You're like,
fear is perceived, in my opinion, fear is a perceived emotional response to the undesirable possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that doesn't exist, right? I think, but if you can shift that from being an undesirable possibility to a desirable possibility, you lose the fear.
It can. The other version, this is an interesting psych thing. There's whenever I do training for grieving, the bargaining system I've linked to fear as like the enemy within. Bargaining, comes into the element of the possible futures that we would love to have. Like if, someone did pass away, let's say like you passed away and I like, God, I would give anything to talk to John one more time, like an unrealistic possibility, but it's in a fantasy. It would be in a positive thing. Also the rose-colored glasses people will do is also a form of bargaining, or it gets into people pleasing and trying to sacrifice yourself to make it so that if I just give this, then I can have that. And if I just gave that, then I could have that. And it gets into all of the bargaining element of the grieving system, which is fantasy for good. Now, the reason I put fear and bargaining together is it's on the same scale. It's just opposite ends. And so fear is I'm really scared of what possibly could happen, and that makes me feel bad. But then how do you feel when the fear doesn't happen? I feel relieved. I feel good. Oh, I was so worried, but now I'm good because it's not real. Well, bargaining is, wouldn't it be so wonderful if we could have this perfect relationship, or we could have this perfect life, or this perfect thing could happen? And then that doesn't happen. Well, how does it feel when the perfect thing doesn't happen? Well, that
Yep.
feels very bad. And so that's
Yeah.
why their opposite is fear is make believe I don't want to happen. And then I'm relieved when it doesn't. And bargaining is make believe I really want to happen. And then I'm really bummed out when it doesn't happen, which creates a second grief inside the grief. So now you have to grieve twice, which is why bargaining is such a tricky one, because it seems like it's wonderful until it doesn't come true. And then you're like, that's depressing twice, and so it gets tricky on that one. So it's funny how often I catch people in abstract thinking of make believe and then trying to base their life around that. And so they're impossible futures or false realities. And it's interesting because how many minutes of the present get wasted on time that isn't happening.
No, I'll be honest with you. I waste a lot of time on it.
Yeah.
I'm a dreamer. I'm really a dreamer. I play the lottery. I've been playing the same numbers for like 15 years. I know it's impossible. Maybe I'll leave the legacy behind that my kids don't have to play the lottery because they'll watch as their dad's done it. And
so what are you going to do with your lottery winnings? If you're in these possible futures, this is a thin line for bargaining between manifestation and make believe. It's a thin line. It's like a razor line. Am I manifesting or is that really possible? So there's a thin line. So, all right, you won the lottery and you won $400 million. Congratulations, John. You won the lottery. After taxes, you got $100. So what are you going to do with all this winnings?
There are so many different scenarios that have played in my head. So many different. This is probably why the fates won't let me win, is because I can't nail down one scenario on exactly how it's going to unfold, because it changes. I mean, it's changed since I started doing this. It's really changed from, I just want to like buy an island and be, far away from everybody, to I want to, set up this trust fund and my legacy of families will never have to worry about money. There's just different scenarios that have always played true. And that's probably why I'm not going to be able to win. So
to like make up your mind for which dream we're manifesting.
I have the answers. It's going to depend on exactly what day, how hard the wind is blowing, and what direction it's coming from.
I like that. Makes a little more sense. Listen, if the fates decide, I'll let the fates decide.
Yeah. I'll trust the fates. They know what they're doing, I think.
I'm pretty sure. It's a hair away. Who knows? Yeah. So it's funny. Yeah, it's interesting that some of the things but this is the ironic thing about win the lottery. And I think there's a degree of the manifestation part does exist. Whatever you think about the most, you become. Whatever it is you focus on, you're going to find. And if you do believe, like, I think it's this way, and I want this thing, and you keep putting it out there, you'll move toward that thing. There's a thing. So right now you're rolling with, like, let's just let God drive. And then we're going to go that direction. And wherever it says, like, hey, GPS says, like, no, do the turn. You're like, start it off with, like, I don't know what to do with my time. I'm kind of bummed out. I'm a little sad right now. Let's do something to share something with the grandkids. And that's turned into, you're going on a tour. And then you're going to create another thing that you made while on the tour. Like, here's what I learned on tour. So here's my first book. And now you're doing another tour. And then you're going to do this other thing that's going to be like, hey, this is a really fun thing too. And now you're doing a concert and you're opening for somebody. You're like, what the hell? Like, life gets weird, man. If you just let it roll.
It does get weird. I can totally see that be a possible path, but I'm just going to ride it until it. Yeah. I mean, it's going to end. Like I said, it's going to end. I'm going to get old and crusty and not be funny anymore, or we're going to lose our relevancy as Gen Xers and we're not going to be able to play that card.
There won't be any more Gen Xers. That's over.
There won't be that is definitely a possibility. The fact that we're still here today is really speaks volumes. I don't know if that says that the ones that are here today are the ones that didn't take risks, or if we're just that tough. One of the two, because we all should not be here.
Cockroaches.
We should.
It's hard to kill. It's hard to kill.
So far, the nuclear winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're the reason that warning labels exist. So. You kids don't understand that warning labels came because some Gen Xer ate it off.
Yeah, my buddy John is the reason why that label exists. Don't put those in your mouth.
Exactly. The poison control that came about because of a Gen Xer. Okay.
Yeah. We're strong learners.
we're yeah, we have a
The
lot
hard
of
way.
tribal knowledge that has now been turned into warning labels.
Yep. That's good. Tribal knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true though. It's very funny. We're in a funny state too. It's funny to watch. Now it's turning into these instruction videos that you're seeing now, which scare the shit out of people. You don't
Yeah.
actually have to know anything to make an instruction video, which I really enjoy.
Yeah, I
You're
know.
seeing them.
Yeah, and you know what? There's so much opportunity for people to make instruction videos. That's the scary part.
Just have to
Uh,
be a little confident in what you say.
yeah, as long as you can convince someone through a lens that you know what you're talking about, you actually don't have to be qualified to do that anymore. Where before, we would all seek the great sage wisdom of either the encyclopedia or mom and dad, the other answers of the
Right.
world,
Which
because
we never checked their
we
qualifications.
never checked their qualifications. Honestly, they were probably blowing smoke up our butts as
Oh, they
well.
were. They absolutely were, yes.
Yeah. Now being where I am in life, I realized that they didn't know what the hell they were talking about.
No.
They
No,
had
still
no
still
idea.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, they had no idea. And here I am doing the same thing. I'm honest enough to my kids to tell them that I'm probably blowing smoke up their butt.
Yeah.
And that you
I
take
find a
everything I
lot of
say.
confidence in just being open when I don't have a clue what they're talking about. But I
Yeah,
want to learn though. There's a lot of confidence in I don't know these days. Like I teach
it's
that.
true.
I'm
It
like, it's
takes a lot.
confident. Like I
It takes a
tell
lot to
people,
say it.
I'm like, tell me something you know. There's no damn way I know what that is. Like something is so niche in your life, because people get so caught up in feeling inadequate, not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be judged, or I'm going to be embarrassed because they're going to be like, "Oh, do you know?" And be like, I'm like, no, I'll just ask me anything. They're like, okay, well, what is the circumference of the gear that goes onto this kind of a thing? And I'm like, I have no idea, dude. What is it? And they're like, oh, it's actually 12.3 centimeters, and that's what it is. I'm like, cool, thanks. How do you use it? You're like, oh, you do it like this. And I'm like, how do you feel? Like, I feel pretty good. I got to share that with you. I'm like, did I seem like an idiot? They're like, no, actually. I'm like, and I said I don't know. I do
It's
that with
powerful,
my
powerful
kids all
words.
the time. I do it with my kids all the time. I'm like, they're like, oh, this thing happened. I'm like, no way. Show me what it is. I have no idea what you're talking about. And it makes them now eager to share versus going, I know everything, which I feel like I'm pretty smart. And so it's one of those things where I feel like I'm in a Mark Twain phase with my kids, which is like when I was 14, my dad was an idiot. He didn't know shit. Like he was foolish
Yep.
and made stupid choices. And then by the time I got to 21, I was amazed at how much he's learned in the 7 years.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you're like,
Yep.
no, it was you who grew. So at this point, like I'm actually waiting because our stuff is like kind of like where you're at, where it's just blowing up right now. Our oldest daughter just went to college, and she doesn't really listen to any of the things that we create. And it's going to be one of those things where she, like, her friend or somebody's gonna be like, dude, I've been listening to this show, or I've been listening to this guy. This guy's awesome. She's gonna be like, it's my fucking stepdad, man. They're like, no, it's not. Shut up. Like, this guy's fucking great. And
Look,
it's
the time that you know that it's there is when somebody sends you or somebody sends her your stuff,
it
right?
happens.
That happened to me
Mm-hmm.
when Max, my youngest, he was on a carrier for a little while, and his supervisor sent him a video and said, "Man, you got to watch this. This is funny." And he goes, "That's my dad."
Yeah.
And the guy was like, "Shut the. That is not your dad." He's like, "Yeah, it's really my dad." And so he's like, "There's no fucking way." So he called me, FaceTime me. I'm sitting right there. FaceTime me, and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" And he's like, "Hey, Dad, just show them." And he just showed them, and they're like, and that's the weirdest thing in the world to me. That's so weird that this is,
Yeah.
again, full circle, going back to the fact that an idiot with the phone and too much time on his hands can cause that type of ripple effect in the world. I mean, where people are like starstruck by you when you meet them in person, and I'm more starstruck by them seeing me as starstruck,
Mm-hmm.
than they are, because that's just so. I'm not that guy.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah.
It doesn't make
It's
sense.
again, like, this is when, like, there's things you really like to do, or there's things you really do. And it's weird when we've seen people all over the country who are like, your video actually got me out of some shit. And I was like, oh, nice to meet you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I've been stopped in stores and all kinds of shit. You're like, what the fuck? That's kind of crazy. I had a guy I was talking to because he's in deep isolation and working through some tough things. And I'm talking with him and he's like, listen, man, I already know that you're good. I don't need the celebrity to call me to tell me how to get the program. And I was like, what celebrity are you talking about, dude? Like the celebrity. I'm like, I really do this. Like, this isn't, the show is the hobby. I really do deep work. I really do this job, man. And so it was funny when he goes, the celebrity doesn't have to come and tell me to get the products.
That's crazy.
Like, that's funny, dude. Crazy. The celebrity. I was like, I just took a shit today, right? Like I'm just, what are you talking about?
Did you watch me put my pants on? It was one leg at a time, just like you.
Yeah. And I hate pants.
Yeah,
it's funny. And we're at the beginning of this thing too. I'm like, I'm still at the very beginning of this journey where I see where it's going to go next. Cause I still have multiple milestones in my heart I still have to do for this job. I have an impossible task. And you've got this huge journey that you're on where like, I'm going to ride where this roller coaster goes. And there's a lot more track. Yeah. This is a cool ride. And while that's a thing, and I don't want to go too far into like the look at us thing, I actually want to really kind of praise you on the concept I don't know if it was deliberate or you stumbled upon it brilliantly, but this concept of extra innings you keep bringing up is really intelligent. Like, I don't know if that's you accidentally did it, but
no, the concept it's always been a concept of extra innings. I think maybe it was because of the fact that we were exposed to death so early, because our dad died when we were 17, or when I was 17. My brother was 20 at the time, and my sister was 15. And it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough for a while. I was not the best kid after that. Yeah. But then my mother passed when she was 59. So now my brother's like, I got to make it at least halfway through the two, right? Between 39 and 59. Sure. So he's like 50 feels like his magic number. And I go, no, I'm actually at the point where I want to beat mom, right? Yeah. I want to go past mom, 59. And we were exposed to death so young, and we had that so ticked in our brains that 39 was the magic number, that we really both were probably more surprised when we actually hit 40 than anything, because of the fact that we did, because we just never saw a world past that. Yeah. And so it really does feel like extra innings. It really does. I've had more time with my kids than what I thought I deserved, because my dad was he kind of got bronzed after he passed away. In our eyes, he was the best thing since sliced bread, and there was nobody that could touch him. And so it really is. It's just that. It's just like, I'm here today, and I'm glad to be here today. And if I get to be here tomorrow, that's another inning. And that's where we're at. And I know that there's a point that we all become familiar with death. Mm-hmm. There's always a point in their lives. And I actually make a joke about it in my comedy bit. But it's true. So at some point in life, we become very aware of death. Before that moment, we think we're invincible and we're never going to die. Yeah. And it's that point that we become familiar with death, that we either have a choice. We could either dread it and be scared of it and think that we can somehow avoid it, or we can say, okay, that's going to happen. I don't know when, and let me just enjoy the innings I have. Yeah. And that I've kind of decided to go that route with it.
It's a stoic route, and that was a stoics thing, is that every day is a gift. And so like they assume that when you lay your head down, that this is your last day. So live your day like this is the last day you're going to live. And if you wake up in the morning, that's a new gift. You've been gifted another day, an extra inning. It's a really brilliant concept. And the way you simplify it's been around for thousands of years. And it really makes it so the fear of risk, the fear of doubt, the fear of all of these, like, well, what if that goes wrong? If what if it goes right? I'm in extra innings anyways. It removes a lot of the make believes that would stop you, because you're like, everything's bonus right now, man. Mm-hmm. So like, I don't have to worry about like, oh, the big game. I'm like, I'm already in bonus. So everything's just a W at this point. And that puts you present. It puts you free from control issues. Mm-hmm. It's making it so I don't have to be so like, everything's got to be my way. It's like, we're already past my way. We made it way longer than we thought. We're winning already. So look at how much, and I found this too, the same thing you're finding is once you release the control over everything and just embrace the present of like, dude, I'm in extra innings, just love the minute. That's my definition of happiness stuff that I teach. is like embrace like the blips of the time you're in this very second. You're in very beautiful moments all the time. But if you're trying to control, or you're scared of, or you're stuck in the past, or you're not here, you're missing that you're in extra innings of just beautiful blips all around you with the people, places, things, or stuff you're doing. And if you're not here, I don't know where you are, but you're missing all of the cool stuff in these extra innings. I don't know where you're at, but you're missing the good stuff right now.
And here's the crazy part. As soon as you're born, you're in extra innings.
We really are.
That's crazy.
We don't really understand it until you start hitting this 40 range. And then you're like, wait a second.
Then you're like, death is a thing.
That's
like a thing. And I can't run away from it.
And I also don't control any of this shit that I've been trying to control.
Exactly. I have no control over it.
So I'm just going to control how I handle it. Yeah.
Yeah. I just hope that it's not like a painful way. I want to be a lights out kind of guy. You know?
Yeah. I feel like if we live this style of life, it's going to be a very instant thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
It's going to be like he died in a tragic skydiving accident. You know, be like, that was fast.
That will not happen.
Right. An accidental skydiving accident.
2 rules in life. Gotcha. Never jump out of a perfectly good airplane, and never go on a ship that sinks on purpose. Everything else is on the table.
Sinks on purpose. Is that like submarine or something? Or?
Yes, and one of our kids is a submariner, so
yeah, he's not listening to rule number 2.
Yeah.
There's 2 rules. How are you
rules.
breaking the second rule?
Everything else is on the table, except for those.
It's a pretty amazing thing. That's why I wanted to kind of praise you a little bit, because whether it's deliberate or you've stumbled upon it like accidentally, it is a brilliant terminology to say I'm in extra innings. So let's just embrace the shit out of it. Let's just roll with it, instead of the fear and the controls and the depression and the things that people are doing right now for the self-destructive, the sabotaging, the doubts, the addictions that are out there, the stuff that's going crazy. Seems to just not be able to catch the blips that we're in right now, the present of like, you're in extra innings, dude, just roll with it.
Yeah.
Like, you're winning right now.
I don't know that many people that have been able to do it. I honestly don't know that many people that have been able to do it. Like, my brother struggles. He's a little bit older. He struggles with depression and anxiety and things of that nature. He's trying to start a brewery right now, and there's all these things that are not going to plan, etc. And I don't know why I can do it. But I can do it for now. Hopefully I can keep doing it until I hit my end of the road.
It's a thing it's actually probably more spirit and heart side is where it runs into when you start embracing like the death element of it. You've embraced like, this is going to happen. And so I'm no longer trying to be in control. Mind and body, the concept of surrender is very bad. Like, I'm never quitting. I'm always going to fight. I'll never give up. Don't surrender. Yeah. That's a terrible term. I'm never going to do that. I'll fight till I'm last breath. Fuck you. Never control me. Right. Yeah. But on your spirit and heart side, that surrender makes you much stronger. Like, I don't control these things. My purpose will I'll find my purpose once I find my authenticity, and I just surrender to who I am instead of conform to what you say I need to be. The heart side of things of, being able to just like fall in love. I listened to the Alan Watts conversations of like the concept of the fall. You don't say, I'm trying to force in love with this girl right now. I'm going to really force the love here. You're like, you don't force in love. You don't make someone love. You surrender to it. You fall in love. And so heart and spirit side is let go. And then you become so strong. And once you've gotten past that point of like, this is when I was supposed to ascend. I'm supposed to be dead already. Like, I'm supposed to be gone. And so I just let go. I don't have anything to hold on to. I win. Like, I'm just in the moments now.
Yeah. I look at it this way. If the book was written about my life from today backwards, right? I had a good book. I mean, I got to be a dad. I got to be a Navy guy, and I got to see some stuff. And then I got to be a college guy, and then I got to be a corporate guy, and then I got to be a funny guy. And if you ended the book today, I'd be okay. Mm-hmm. It would still be a good book. Not as long as I wanted it to be, but it'd still be a good book.
It depends on how you tell the stories, because some people can drag a story. Oh my God.
Yeah, some people can. I'm one of them.
It's like, this is a really big book, like
I'm one of them. It's hard to condense some of these things down into a 1-minute video sometimes. I really want to go far.
Oh, God, am I with you on this? My babe will jump in and she's like going to ask me some concept that I just did a 2-hour training on. And she's like, 3 minutes. And I'm like, I just did 2 hours on this. You want 3-minute version?
For the intro.
Shit. Yeah. No, I like the idea of this. And like, it's almost kind of like too, like the book is actually still going because you have just cool chapters, but these chapters are so different. They're freeing. Right. And I wish that like what you're saying about when I discovered this too, I discovered this when I balanced out my stuff within the last 2 years. I was like, I really surrendered to this element of like, just be, man, and let it go with what's supposed to go with. And you don't control all of that. And the radical acceptance of things, which really makes it so people can be like more truthful with you, more safe with you. They're asking you, can you teach me how to take more risk? And you're like, there is no risk. You just go. Like that doesn't, you're scared of a thing that doesn't exist. But then you got to weigh out, like you're going for like what, nothing versus a potential something. But when you see the choice, do you want absolutely nothing or do you want the possibility for something? Which one do you want? And you're like, well, I want the something. I'm like, well, then decline the nothing and then go.
Take away the nothing is an option.
Yeah. There's nothing if you don't do nothing, but you can do something. And then what happens if you don't get it, but you go for something?
You might find something else. That's the other part, right? Is just because you don't hit the ideal end state, there could be somewhere else along the lines that goes in a completely left direction that you didn't even see.
And that's the uncertainty people are scared of. Also has that answer. It has that answer.
Awesome. Yeah, it's because you said yes to something. It may turn into something that you didn't know was even possible.
That's out there too, guys. We have anxiety when it's also the greatest thing you've never known is still in that same window too.
Yeah, like I said yes to this stand-up comedy thing. I was so anxietous about it. I mean, it really was. I'd been getting up in front of a bunch of people and doing it. I practiced in the living room with the missus for, doing my set and stand up and etc. Because I'm not a comedian. I'm not a comedian. If you ask me as a child or as an adult, I'm not a comedian. But I am now. Somehow I earned the title because I did it, and now I'm going to do it more. But it was because I said yes, and then the opportunity turned into this.
Yeah. Fear hates courage. Fear hates courage. And for you to go, yes, scares the shit out of me. Yes.
It scares me.
Fear hates courage.
God, it scares me. I'm still not jumping out of an airplane.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a thin line between courage. And I think that's the definition where they say to have courage is to know that something may hurt you and still do it anyways. And stupidity has the same definition, which is why life is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta moderate. Gotta make sure
you're like, is it hold my Red Bull or hold my beer? I don't know which one I'm doing right now.
My hold my beer days are over.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is courage or stupid. I can't tell.
Yeah. The only thing that I would say about this getting older and being in extra innings that sucks is the body.
Yeah.
The body.
Yeah.
That's the other unfortunate reality is that the body is going to break down in the most horrific ways that you never thought were possible.
What's some of your worst ones? What's some of the, like, it's embarrassing, this is happening ones?
I crapped my pants for the first time probably like 6 months ago.
Outstanding.
In an unplanned fashion. Yeah. Yeah.
Surprised.
Yeah. I realized that, I'm a tea drinker now because the coffee didn't sit well with my tummy.
Yeah.
And it gave me the shakes and stuff like that. And so we were in Atlanta. We were going to go to the Legoland, and the missus decided there was a Cafe Intermezzo there, which I don't know if you've ever been to one of those. Those are great places, by the way.
No.
They've got really pretty with the swirlies and the hearts and all that crap and the cappuccino. So I was like, I'm just going to get one. Hadn't had coffee in 6 months. Okay, hadn't had coffee in 6 months, and I decided I'm going to get a cappuccino. I thought everything was going to be fine. I was like, my Tums are a little rumbly, but everything's going to be good. Don't ever trust that ever again. That's where we're at in life. That our valves and our O-rings are not the same that they used to be. We can't hold back the tides like we thought we could. And we're in Atlanta traffic on the way to Legoland, and the Lord decided that the dam was going to break.
Oh, no. And
she's in the car. They got the kid in the back seat, and I just, yeah. And there's nothing what do you do at that point? We all it just got, this is the bigger problem as to why this was so uncomfortable. Because instead of addressing the elephant in the room, it just got silent.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything for the next 20 minutes.
Oh, is it 20 minutes of sitting in shit?
Yeah. We all just kind of stared there. I'm just holding the steering wheel. Nobody's saying a word.
And they're looking around. Are we by a farm? Like, is there somebody putting out some manure? And why do I not see a farm?
Yeah. So they knew. They knew because we were having a conversation. I was like, I gotta pull over. I can't. And then.
Yep.
So that's my worst one so far.
That was pretty outstanding. Well done. Yeah.
And I'm gonna actually incorporate that into my comedy here soon.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I shit myself in traffic.
Yeah, because shitting yourself is always hilarious. Anything that has to do with farts and butts and colonoscopies is hilarious.
When you said, like, you know, as a man, we don't really mature after 12 years old.
We don't.
Yeah, farts and poop jokes are still solid.
They're the funniest shit.
And in this case, wasn't that solid, but it still still counts.
We'll never ever get away with it.
It's funny. I had a buddy of mine explain like some of the tea stuff too. Like he had a person who was like some colon blow tea or something. He's like, can't be that strong. And he said he was downstairs in the basement and his bathroom is right at the top of the stairs. Like it's stairs bathroom. And he's down there changing the laundry. He's like, oh no. And so he started going to run up the stairs. And as he was there, he's like, I'm not kidding, dude. I was on the last step and just shit my pants. Like a fucking grenade went off in my pants. And he's like, I was right in the bathroom. I was in the bathroom with a shit grenade in my fucking pants. He was like, I almost made it. And it's just one of those things where getting older, you're like, dude, it's still a good story. It's like
it's an exorcism of the bowels. I mean, they do not mess with teas, okay? You guys think coffee's rough? You get the right combination of teas and it will do things to you. Lots of things. You could stay up for a week. You could sleep for a week. You could basically be in a point where you can't leave the bathroom. And I have those teas. I know exactly what he's talking about. And it's if you need to clean it out, I mean, it'll work, but be prepared. You ain't doing anything else that day.
Yeah. You're going to be dedicated.
Yeah. This is a commitment.
Yeah. I got some silly ones, man. Like I still do my workouts, but I remember I was doing a workout like it was probably last year. And I was doing some squats and I'm feeling good. I got some good lifts, going a little heavy, and I'm like, good. And then I was just like stretching. So I was like touching my toes, like just stretch, just touch your toes and just pop something right there. Oof. And I was like, oh, and I was on my knees, just fucked. I'm like, oh my God. And they're like, did you get hurt working out? And I was like, I wish I could say I was working out. I was only stretching. Like I did a squat. I was doing good. But it's the touch your toes that destroyed me. I was fucked for like a week from stretch.
I mean, at least it didn't happen while you sneezed. I mean, that's embarrassing.
Well, I mean,
I hear that's a thing.
You get hurt sneezing.
Yeah.
Or like, how funny is it when you wake up and you're like, I think I slept wrong.
I did a whole video on that. Was when I woke up and I thought my arm was not coming back. Like, I guess I slept on it wrong and it went into a coma. My arm went into a coma. My body woke up and it was 10 minutes after. And I'm walking around like Bob Dole, just stuck a pen in my hand, walking around like Bob Dole. Like, I don't think it's coming back. We're just going to do this forever because I'm not cutting it off. It took like 10 minutes, literally.
You got an entire Insidious episode where you find out your arm is really a dream walker and it can like do astral projection. And it's like Thing in like the astral plane, just running around on its hands.
Either of that, it comes back from like the hand on Evil Dead and starts attacking me.
Yeah, idle hands. You're like, oh God.
Yeah, I understand that.
And that's what happens when you sleep wrong. I'm like, I'm doing this. I'm in my 40s. I've been sleeping pretty much every day. You'd think I'd have this down by now. No,
because your body's deteriorating and it's doing things and it's changing and it's evolving into basically a corpse. And along the path, it's going to do things for the living part of you that it doesn't understand. That's what we're going through.
I'm evolving into corpse.
You're evolving into a corpse. Your mind is alive, very much alive. In fact, my mind is just as sharp as it's ever been. Of course, that's going to decline again too. But our body is evolving into a corpse slowly, and we're experiencing that in real time. And this is what's happening. We're sneezing and throwing things out. We're stretching and throwing, tearing things, and we're shitting ourselves in inappropriate times. It's going to get worse.
Yeah. And these are the blips. These are the beautiful moments.
These
extra
are the
innings.
Moments that we should celebrate.
Extra innings.
If we think about it, they're like little birthdays towards our corpse birth.
Okay. Let me think about it.
They're little birthdays, little moments. They're the little precious moments that our body is having towards its birthday of dying.
Just to remind you that, like, just in case you were feeling confident about like some of the things coming up, we're gonna have you shit your pants.
It's gonna be a bit. That and the fact that my arm is no longer long enough for me to read my phone. I have to have.
Oh, the glasses, yeah.
That's the other one.
My baby does that. I laugh at her because she's nearsighted or farsighted, and so she's got to do this to see stuff.
Yeah. Well, your arm is only so long. Eventually, it's not long enough anymore, and you have to change things because the text only gets so big on these things. So we have to change, and we have to change because the eyes, they're dying too. It's so much fun. It's enjoyable.
Extra innings, man.
Extra innings, kids. Sign yourself up. Just can't wait.
It's an interesting game. I'll be at this point. I am going to say though, 40s are fucking great. They are cool. 40s are cool. Are you? Listen, the way you're speaking, are you past 40s? You look young.
No, I'm only 45. I'm only
okay. 45, I'm going to say,
I make jokes
no
about
way.
it. Okay. I make jokes about it. That's what I do. And it's funny when I make jokes about it because the people that are in their 50s and 60s, they remind me in the comments, strap in, little guy. Strap in.
Yeah. Because I got 43 coming up, and I'm like, so far so good. It's pretty fucking great.
You haven't even hit the deep water yet. Okay.
Oh yeah. In the next couple of years is the deep water.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the 50 and 60 year olds. That's what they're telling me. They're like, look, you're in a good time there, sunshine. Okay.
Real talk. I've seen people. Man, I feel like this conversation is so silly. So, Andrea and I were driving, and we saw one of those guys, probably in his 60s, having a very real life moment where we saw him on the side of the road, other side of the road, and we saw him getting out of the car, just obviously fucking frustrated. And then you saw him go around the side and just have to drop, and he's immediately shitting on the side of the road. And you're like, that guy's having one of those exact moments, right? And you could just tell he's like I'm a grown ass man shitting on the side of the road, and it's obvious. This wasn't like probably a good idea. It is. I have to do this immediately. The O-rings are blown. I have to go now, and you could see it was just a shame shit there.
Again, I would just stay in the car and let it happen.
Yep.
I'm not sharing it with the public like that. Okay. There was two people in the car that shared it with me, but that's the extent of my sharing. Besides,
you're far more generous. Not everybody's as big a giver as you. You're a giver, John. We can see.
I like to keep it small circles for these intimate moments.
But sharing, deep share, small.
I don't know if I would drop trowel on the side of the road.
He didn't seem happy about it. He seemed under protest.
I feel like I would evaluate where I'm going. Where my next stop on my journey is here down the road, and I mean physically down the road, to see if I could, if that an opportunity to throw my underwear away or something like that. I'm not doing it. I don't know if I could do that.
I'm interested about your processor here because you're A-okay with shit in your pants with people in the car, but just taking a side of the road shit is like, it feels a little out there.
Well, there's a lot of strangers involved. These two people in the car know me. I mean, they've been around me.
This is the side of the freeway. It wasn't like a city street.
Well, you saw them.
Yeah, we were just driving by. Yeah,
right. You saw it. I mean, that's what I'm worried about. I mean, and you didn't honk.
Well,
somebody probably honked.
Yeah,
they're like, and you're like, oh God, no! It got it on my shorts. Right? I don't need that type of. It's just I'm not a public pooper like that.
I see where you're going.
I'll go anywhere, but I won't go there. It's kind of like the Meatloaf song.
Meatloaf song. I was gonna say.
I'll do anything for shit, but I won't do that.
But I won't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, side of the freeway. Maybe if it was on the interstate and I can pull off and there's woods there and I can go into the woods quickly, I might do it that way.
Well played. Safer. Well played. I can see the strategy has been played out.
Yeah, I thought I have to think about this.
Your fan base has got you prepared. And that's the real true meaning of abstract thinking, is if I was going to shit myself, where would I go? And now it's preparation. You become clairvoyant and you're no longer anxious.
Yeah, I'm not anxious about it. I'm just hoping. I just hope that lottery ticket does not get me again. Already got me once.
You got your emergency kit, like, of extra clothes in the trunk. That's like, no, I know how this ride can go.
Yeah, I really do. I really keep some underoos in the car now for that exact reason.
Your underoos.
Yeah, we just we whoop, right out the window. But I hope it doesn't hit somebody's windshield.
It may. You're gonna change somebody. Like, there's a whole new trauma that I'm helping somebody through because they're like, we had to touch it.
I was just driving down the road. We're going on a vacation at Disneyland, and all of a sudden,
it's just underwear that was just filled with shit hit the windshield.
Slaps the windshield.
The smell of it, the guy had to be 110. He must have eaten baby food that day. I don't know what this was, but I still have nightmares.
Yeah, that's where we're going.
I love it.
We're gonna have a good time.
So I'll be talking him through the grief. I'm like, let's go through the denial. Did it happen? Yes, it did. All right. Was there anger? Was it an injustice? Was there something unfair? Like, it wasn't right. It was so wrong. And I'm like, yeah. Now let's go through the sadness of this. Let's work through that, buddy. Let's go through the feels.
Good stuff.
And I think the moral of the story is that shit happens.
It does.
We come full circle to radical acceptance, extra inning, and sometimes shit happens.
Sometimes shit happens. That's where we're at. Just let the shit happen. Be one with the shit.
Yeah.
Be one with it.
It just is mind, heart, body, spirit. Shit.
Exactly.
Is.
Shit. I feel better already.
I think we did it. I feel right. I think that people are going to be listening. I've got some pretty deep episodes. I think this is one that goes really into it. I think people are going to be getting a lot from this.
That's good. I hope that they all, and I hope that they have a different perspective about shitting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that they can all come to terms with this is normal. This is normal. It's nothing to be upset about.
We're embracing the extra innings. And so I just want somebody, like, really, there's no anxiety to be had. And I just, fear isn't real. Plan for shit to happen in your pants. Mm-hmm. And life is pretty good all around that, and so embrace the awkward 20 minutes where people go, they know you did it.
They know you did it. They can smell it. They can see it. Oh, that was the other part, is we had to go back to the hotel. I forgot to tell you that part.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my God.
So you did have to do a public event?
Well, no, because I had one of those teenagers that wears hoodies in June.
Oh, no.
And I said, you're going to give me the hoodie. And he says, no, I'm not.
No.
And I said, yes, you are. I'm taking the fucking hoodie. So I wrapped the hoodie around my waist. Yeah. And we walked into the hotel with...
He never wore that hoodie again?
Yeah, no. He did. That went biohazard, man. That thing was... He's like, yeah, you can keep it. I said, no, I'm not keeping it. I'm going to keep it there. Throw it out the window.
Yeah, this hoodie is shit, dude. I'm not... It's a shit hoodie. I'm not wearing that.
It's June. Any kid that wears a hoodie in June, it smells like a bag of hot onions anyway. So
Fair.
I probably made it smell better.
Yeah, you fixed it.
I fixed it.
Yeah.
But he declined to wear it thereafter. So it was unfortunate.
Blessed.
It was his favorite one.
Sometimes we're spoiling our kids, Just throw a hoodie that you improved away.
Yeah.
Instant gratification. There's just no respect these days.
Just give me the hoodie. Just give me the hoodie.
Just use a Tide stick. It's fine.
Right. Seriously. I mean, you've been wearing this thing for like 3 weeks straight. It's 110 degrees outside.
Yeah. You're using the wrong shout. You're yelling at me. Shout it out. Shout it out.
It didn't touch the poo. It didn't touch the poo. It was just a covering on the backside.
Yeah, it's fine. It's funny,
Good
man. This is exactly how I was expecting this to go.
Oh, was it? Good.
Yeah, it's a total shit show. So it's perfect.
Good. Well, I guess I didn't tell you that in the notes there.
No, it's good. So this is a fun thing, man. It's actually it's funny as this is, as silly as it is, it's actually really cool. The lessons that are in here, there actually are really good lessons. I really do hope people embrace the extra endings. It's brilliant. It really is. And then the concept of breaking depression by catching legacy, or the concept of potential legacy, makes it so that you found an acceptance and a purpose that I think very few people end up finding. It's
But
it's a very good
isn't
lesson.
that our point, right? That's our point in life, right? There's the stage where you're growing up, and then there's the stage where you're learning, and then there's a stage where you're working, and then there's a stage where you're
Being
transitioning the information that you have, right, to the next generation. I feel like those are the stages that we get to have in life. And I feel like I'm just at the beginning of that transitioning stage of leaving my knowledge to the people behind me.
there is well, the legacy, because there's so much media. I think the more complicated is that since there's so much media, how easy it is for finding our information to get just lost in the just vast oceans of information. Because
Yeah.
like you said, everybody with a phone is just documenting millions of hours of their life every single day. You just got all these people just like, we have 300 terabytes of this person's selfies. Like, we know everything of this person. And so people are documenting so much on their phones, to find, like, well, let me look at your information. It's going to get probably harder and harder to find unless we make truly quality content. And so to find that legacy is going to get trickier. But we're in an interesting time, though. It is an interesting time to see what it's going to be.
I
Like, and
don't
how are
envy
people going
the
to...
kids. Don't envy them at all.
There's a lot of weird things happen. It's tough for kids. There's a good chance, though. Like, it's literally a coin toss. I talk to our daughters. I'm like, you guys have a lot of mess to clean up. We really fucked this up for you. Like, we really royally fucked this. Can't claim our generation did a good job. We really fucked up our stuff and your stuff. We were all in. We created the weak times, create weak people. We fucked that up. Yeah, we shit on that. So you guys are gonna have to clean this mess up, because we shit our pants on this one. So you're gonna have to deal with it. And that's kind of the reality of where they're either going to perpetuate harder times and make it worse, or they're gonna go, we are not doing what they did, which is really what I'm hoping happens. We're like, we can all agree we're not doing what our parents did, right? And I'm kind of hoping that's what they do.
I hope so. Because we are they said lead, follow, or get out of the way, and most of us just got out of the way. And there seems to be some leaders amongst the next generations behind us. It's just whether or not they're going to get traction in such a fast world where the technology and the information flow is changing so fast, and the ability to communicate the true message is diluted severely.
Well, it's getting more and more complicated to understand if somebody is truly a leader of a movement or if they're just an influencer.
Right, if they're just a face.
Don't know these days. Hard to say, because influencers think they're leading, even though
hate that word.
They don't know where they're going at all, which is not a leader.
They're going where they're told.
Yeah, like a leader.
Yeah, I hate the word influencer.
Follow me. Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a real job. It's kind of the worst that we've even perpetuated that
we've called people that, and that they've taken it to heart.
I you know what, this is maybe me in my 40s, just kind of I'm gonna just very cliche on this one. I never understood that one. I've never been like, because that person is acting like they're important because they took a photo someplace, makes me want to do that. Like, I've been like, I don't care if a meteor hits that person. It
gave them a differentiator of status because of the fact that they posted something that a lot of people watched.
I still don't know why, though. I'm like, why? This is the most boring fuck I've ever seen in my life. Why are we building this guy? Why has he got like hundreds of thousands to go do this, to wear a shirt for a brand that, like, put it on the most uninteresting shit I've ever seen? Yeah. Actually, I'm more interested in the shit you took in your car than the shit this person's producing for their content. Like, I do find it more we've had a longer conversation about actual number 2 than like how many subscribers this guy has for his shenanigans. So I'm having a hard time understanding the job itself.
Yeah, it's just basic marketing. Unfortunately, it's basic marketing. He sells the shirt.
It's sad that works.
It works, though.
It's sad.
It works on all of it.
Children, do better,
please.
That's the message.
That's one thing you guys can
do better. Get good.
You can fix all of our stuff, but also do better on this influencer situation.
Don't do any more of that. That's a stupid idea.
Mm-hmm. Don't do any more of that.
We're trying to pass wisdom before we can't remember what we just said.
That happens too.
Yeah.
That's the other part of it.
Oh man, it's good though. Well,
Yeah.
I love hanging with you, man. Is there anything else you want to throw out there for like, dude, you guys should check out this stuff or like follow some things that you're working on? Like, what are some stuff that you got that you'd love to be able to kind of put out there right now to kind of
Watch my
spread some?
podcast on YouTube. Watch my podcast. If you enjoyed this interaction right here and you want to see this on steroids, go to my YouTube page, watch the Check Your Feelings podcast.
You
I'm
know
not
what?
saying that because I want you to watch it. I'm saying that because it's funny.
I really, we don't have to end right now. I'm just saying, like, as far as this goes, like the check your feelings thing, I'm very open to it. Tell me a little bit more about what you're doing because I've only seen like the one you have all the 4 people on. Also, is one guy's name BJ in the morning? Is that?
Yeah, that's my brother-in-law. His name
That's
is
your
BJ.
brother-in-law? His name's
Yeah,
BJ in the morning? Because I was like, that's like 2 meanings.
We came up with that, which later we found out there is an actual radio DJ. So BJ in the mornings. But so we can't trademark that, but we could still use it.
Well, you can still use it. It just sounds like a great way to start the day.
Yeah, the BJ in the morning.
Who doesn't want that?
Check Your Feelings came up out of a car ride from Atlanta. A lot of things happened in Atlanta. From Atlanta.
That's a
no,
fact,
we were going
Norfolk.
We were coming down from Norfolk. We just saw one of the kids at the base. And we're driving back. And I'm the kind of guy that likes to call people when I drive. And just, catch up with them, whatever, because it's you're sitting there, you got nothing else to do. So we call my sister. And me and my sister, when we talk, we roast each other. It's pretty much an hour-long roast session. And she was like, "Oh God, we should make a podcast. This is so hilarious. People would love this." And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool. I'll go buy the shit and we'll do a podcast." She goes, "Really?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll figure it out. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out." So I bought a bunch of equipment and we did the first season, which went very well. And we basically just roast each other. I mean, we roast each other. And then we've got this beautiful dynamic with Mrs. DBV, who she's the older one, right? She's in her later 40s. She's the balance of it all because she sits there really quietly and then she just throws in these one-liner atomic bombs, usually directed at me. And it's okay. I'm okay. That's part of the entertainment value. And BJ is like this calm, quiet, sweet, happy guy who doesn't want to ruffle anybody's feathers. But the dynamics between him and my sister are hilarious. And now we're into season 2. We just had one episode of season 2, and now we're about to go to the second episode. We're going to record that this Sunday, and we're going to bring my brother into the fold. We have an older brother that's the same age as Mrs. DBV, and so we're going to have this dynamics of 5 for at least one episode, and we're going to see how that works. And we're going to go from there. BJ does all the editing, all that photography is done in my living room. Mrs. DBV absolutely hates when we do setup because we destroy her. Everything's in the right place. Kind of thing, to move the couches and all that stuff. And we just have fun, and we're usually, having some adult beverages while we're doing it. And it's just a good time. So watch it. It's fun. It's stupid. Absolutely.
Yeah. I like it. It's cool that you're doing that. And what a fun way to also stay like connected with your family and stuff too. Like, so today's age, like people are like, we have so much opportunity to stay connected and don't. Yeah. And it's cool that you're like, let's just create a thing that we can be silly and enjoy each other.
Yeah.
We have a high production value.
Yeah.
Because it is. He's doing all the he's cutting all the video cuts as everybody changes mics, except for when BJ's mic isn't on, which I noticed in that one episode.
BJ is a master at that. I mean, the amount of, because if you think about it, there's 4 different streams, right? Mm-hmm. 4 different files that he's got to chop up. And it takes him about a good solid day to do that for every episode. So that's why we don't do it every 2 weeks now. We're doing it every month because it's just, we all have real jobs. Mm-hmm. And he does all that and then makes this miraculous product. He made that intro video. He created that all himself.
That's cool.
I mean, he's just a kind of a little Zen master at all this stuff. So yeah, it's absolutely fun. We're going to keep doing it until, one of us hates each other so much we don't want to see each other. It could happen. It could.
I feel like the armor you guys are building to create a have thick skin show, if someone can crack the armor, it should almost be like an honor, a badge of honor instead of like you falling out. It's like, wait a second, we've been building this armor up for years and you actually cracked it. Like, kudos.
It was episode 11 I think it was, of season 1. That was the first time they all jumped on me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I was like, oh wow, okay, I guess I'm the target today. But yeah, if
You
you go
guys
back
are
and watch,
almost hurting my feelings right now.
you
I
guys
have
are
to warn
almost
you.
hurting my feelings, but this is good stuff. See, they turn it around to this is great stuff. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
Right. Yeah.
And they kept going, and I was like, okay, cool, let's keep going.
Like, that was a great show, everybody.
Thanks,
I really
guys.
appreciate
Good
you
job.
here. I really am gonna cry, but
I'll be in my room later.
we did it for the
me.
gram. We did it. Good job. I actually need to do some outlets. I'm emotionally damaged right now, so.
But that's the point of the show. Check your feelings. It's a couple Gen Xers and a couple millennials sitting there roasting each other and having fun.
That's
That's
cool,
all.
man.
It's like a Seinfeld episode. We have no script to this thing. We've tried to do topic sheets. It ends up getting thrown out the window because I've got really bad ADHD.
Well, not really, because we've been having a conversation and you're doing very well if you call that very bad ADHD.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Listen, I've worked with people who have ADHD where I'm like, I actually can't work with them. They can't stay on a topic. So like, I actually can't work with this one. This one actually needs specific help.
She told me that I needed to cut back on my bunny trails in the comedy bits, but I found out that when I did it live, it was really good. The bunny trails work. They really work.
I actually think it's a sign of intelligence the way that it can be bunny trailed off, like wherever you go. Like, it's like you're not going to really throw it off into the mix. You know, when you see people go like, there's a glitch in my matrix because I can't follow what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, it's showing a high intelligence to go like, dude, go wherever you want. Like, it's fine.
Roll that's with that. That's what I did. I was doing a bit on colonoscopies because those are my second favorite thing.
Of course.
I'm shitting myself. I have a problem. I really need to understand why I keep going back to this target area.
There's a lot of butthole stuff happening.
A lot of butt situations going on. But I was doing a bit about colonoscopies because
that's the name of your set is just butt stuff.
Butt stuff.
The name. Yes, that's the set.
Butt stuff. Dad Bod Veterans Butt Stuff Tour.
Yeah. We got some dad bod butt stuff, so let's go ahead and do it.
Sounds good, though. I mean, it actually sounds like a tour that you'd be like,
I'd click on it. I'd click on it. I'd be like, this is going to get weird.
I might
you're clicking on it because you hope it's comedy and not porn. You're like, please be comedy. Please be comedy. Dad bod butt stuff. I hope it's funny.
Oh, bad. The butt stuff tour 2026 coming soon.
Yeah.
And I start the bit out talking about, the most awkward time that I met a fan. That's how the bit started because it's a true story. I met a fan when I was having a colonoscopy. Yeah, awkward, right? But then I go down the bunny trail of how different colonoscopies are from yesterday when we used to have to do the go lightly for those of us who have been doing colonoscopies our whole life. I have been doing them a long time because my dad was colon cancer. So I'm used to doing them, but they've changed, and now we're doing it with the over the counter stuff, right? And it's much more gentle on your tum-tums. But I just kept going down all these bunny trails to finally get into the story. And she was like, you got to take all that out. You just got to take all that out. Just take it out. And I was like, no, I'm not going to take it out. I think I like it. Plus I have 15 minutes and I need to fill all this time. And man, the bunny trails killed it. They just killed it. They just killed it. So we're going to build in more bunny trails.
I think the hard part is sometimes when you're riffing like that, you're like, that was such a good set. I'm actually having a hard time duplicating that set because I was riffing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a scary part. Because if you do script stuff, then you get to like, what do I say next? Right? Versus riffing. But then riffing could go totally south too.
Oh,
if you just have like a duh moment. Which I'm sure I will eventually hit. They say you have to have a bad set. So
yeah,
I haven't had mine yet.
That happens, man. Like, they're funny too. I do a lot of training. I do maybe between 20 to 25 group trainings a week. Like, I do real deep work stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have trainings that I'm like, I really think I got this down. I have advanced training on Tuesday with guys who have gone through all my programs, stuff like this. I do advanced stuff. And I remember I had one that seemed absolutely correct about like how chaos is the order and how you can see how things are all connected. And so you're trying to control things that are already supposed to be not controlled, which is control. And I'm breaking this whole thing down and I'm realizing if I got fucking PhDs and doctors in this group and they're all waiting for so I'm waiting for you to do like that Rick thing that wraps it all in a bow. And I'm like, I did it, dude. The chaos is the order. Don't you you see that? It looks correct, guys. And I'm realizing in the middle of this training, it's just bombing hard. I'm like, I'm reading it right now. It looks correct. How are you guys not getting this? Doesn't seem as esoteric as it's coming off. And yeah, sometimes you just got to have those sets where like I'm still laughing. I'm like, I don't even know how to fix it. It's correct. I did the math.
Yeah, it was right. It was right. The punchline was there.
They just didn't get it, but it's right.
Didn't miss it. And you can't just go to the mic and be like, oh, God, that's a horrible joke. Throw that one out.
Yeah. You know? You just got to eat it. Oh, man. That's actually you probably really could pull off the Dad Bod Butt Stuff tour and people would be like.
Really could.
It is funny.
It's just a funny name. I mean, judging by what tours are being named these days, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
I'll think about it.
So listen, we're just dream building at the moment.
Yeah, we are.
Where it's gonna, we
don't know where it's gonna go. We don't even know who's gonna be the opener. I don't know. Yeah. It's gonna have to somebody that doesn't like butt stuff.
I'm hoping they're the shit and it's not just total shit, which would go along with.
We'll put that story in there too. It's just gonna be a series of stories on butt related situations. I love it. Yeah. I don't know how it's gonna go.
How do I subscribe? Where's the button?
It's probably going to have to be on OnlyFans. I don't know. That's what I was going to say is like earlier, you're like, there's so many opportunities to make money in this world. I can't believe that that's an opportunity to make money. And I tell people that. I'm like, look, whenever you're down and desperate, just get a jar of peanut butter, a hot dog, and take some feet pics. Take some feet pics. But see, you're cringing. You're cringing, but you know that I'm right.
I didn't listen. I'm not arguing. There's no counter. There's no counter here. It's just more of I'm still working through the acceptance of I don't think it's incorrect, but it's so wrong. Like, like it's not. He's not wrong, but it's wrong, and so I'm going through that.
It's morally wrong. It's morally wrong
because you get the hot dog and peanut butter,
but it's technically true.
And there's someone who's like, I'll
pay $50 for that.
Where is it? Where is it? Is it a link in the bio?
Yeah, where is it? It's true. It's true. There's so many ways to make money. I told my brother that. He was like, I'm struggling with this bar opening. I'm like, dude, you better get that peanut butter out. It's time. It's time, man. I told you.
Like, you want peanut butter?
Hear that? You can have make a video of your wife farting in a jar, then you fart in the jar. And send it to somebody. You'll make millions because they'll open it up and they're like, man, what did this chick eat?
Yeah. There's asparagus this week.
Butt stuff.
Damn it. But more butt stuff with farting in jars now. Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Although part of the joke is how much did it sell for? So like there is a thing where like, no, he made really $300 off of that
like
jar of farts.
And it was like all it cost him was, $10 at Taco Bell.
Yeah. And shipping.
Don't let that jar break on the way.
You have to put fragile on the outside of the box. Which is also part of a funny thing to say in my real life. I have shipped a jar of farts, and you're like, that's just a thing that's happened. Wow. Which is even more funny is someone has. There
was a girl who did it, and she got like. She was making so much money off of it that she was forcing herself to fart and had to go to the hospital.
Wait.
She was over farting. This is a thing.
I'm processing this.
Look it up.
So wait a second. She hospitalized herself from what? Like just the aggressive pushing for farts?
No, the aggressive whatever she was eating and the amount of farting that she was doing. She was making like $200K a month or something like that. Selling farts in a jar.
All right. Actually, we're looking it up. There's no way. All right. Yeah. So somebody's selling farts in a jar and then hospitalizes themselves.
And then gets hospitalized. Look it up. Let's see. The Googles will tell me.
Yeah, I'm going in. Farts in a jar. Hospitalization. This is we're so live it hurts right now. Oh my God. This came up.
Yeah, Stephanie Matto, who appears on 98 Fronts for hospitalized, experienced severe gas pains until she got an attack.
31 years old. How did she get it?
She was
Retires
a
after being hospitalized.
fartrepreneur.
She's making $254,000 a year selling her farts in a jar.
Told you.
Who is buying this?
People.
Son of a bitch.
Told you.
Somebody
So
is
I don't want to
buying
hear.
this girl's
I don't want to
farts.
hear that no one can make money.
There's opportunities everywhere. This
Everywhere.
girl,
It may not be what you like. It may not be what you want to do, but it's there.
she said, I thought I was having a stroke and these were my final moments. I was overdoing it. That's the quote. She's from 90 Day Fiance.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, there you go.
Well, that's a real thing. That's
a real thing.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, if you can think it, somebody will buy it.
Man, we got to sell some weird shit. All right, yeah. You can market it. I'm like, if you smell my farts, you will get smarter.
And that's why I said that we should have like one of the wives take a video of farting, acting like she's farting in a jar, and then we fart in the jar. Because we know that a male fart is way more potent than a female fart.
The old switcheroo.
Right? And we want to give them their money's worth.
We want to make sure they really got it because it's got to survive the ship. Yeah, it's got to.
And when they open it and they get that blast, they're going to be like, I got to get another one.
They're like, my hair standing up. Oh my God.
We're going to get people who have like, they're going to pay like $2,000 for a monthly subscription to Fart.
Yeah, they're like, this was so potent.
They're like, man, that was the best ever. Guys in China will buy it by the gallon.
They sell farts are in gallons now.
I don't know. God. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Metric.
We'll set up a process line. We'll have some big guys from the bar that drink Hefeweizens just lined up.
Oh wow!
Pay them nickels.
There's so much money on the bottom half of the hypergamy pyramid. We got to just capitalize. Yeah, the jars of fart guys.
Yeah, well, I know of like 10 or 12 guys that easy we could put up a processing line.
Wow!
Just hand them some good, nice thick beers.
I've got. I mean, if you're wanting potency, I've got like professional strongmen and all kinds of stuff in my groups.
There you go. There you go. The guys that are the guys that are on the creatine and stuff like that, eating the hard-boiled eggs.
I mean, the guy's like 350 solid muscle with like more protein in his system than a cow, and you're just like, whoa.
He's literally probably farting solid. Solid.
Like you can actually see like
you can physically see when he farts. Like
it's like those like you ever seen like the lightest substance on earth is like this like weird little jello thing. Yeah, it's like a cloud.
It's the opposite.
Like those are his actual farts. Is like it's like you can hold it. Yeah, I gotta let him know.
There's a market for that.
I'm like, buddy, if you got some time off of work, let's go ahead and make you like a couple mil.
You just need to stop by Del Taco on the way home.
We'll say it is the strongest fart you can get. Like it comes from the strong man.
No, don't say it comes from a strong man. Just like I have a picture of a petite little blonde on it.
Oh,
it's part of the marketing.
You know what?
She did it.
I'm clearly new to this region. Here I am trying to sell true product.
Yeah. See, you're looking at it all wrong.
Yeah, clearly
looking at it all wrong.
Obviously, my mistake.
Everybody wants to have a beautiful cow. They don't want to see what a real cow looks like, okay? They see that nice dairy cow out there in the field eating the grass. They don't want to see them caged up, stuck with their udders stuck in the machine all day. They don't want to know. They want to see it beautiful. Yeah. You got to give them what they want.
Show them a picture of the pasture and then give them
pasture with a
give them the bowl.
Something out there. Yeah. I got it. I'm going to make a mint.
This is utterly ridiculous. All right. So, I kind of, it's funny, but I hate that this is real. That's a real thing. You can go ahead and just sell some farts. Mm-hmm. Even more bananas is like, how did it even get to like, here's what I should do? There's some dude who's like, I will pay you good money for.
Well, think about the Haktua girl.
Yeah. So I don't know that much about it. I don't follow that stuff. So
she's been offered like $100,000 to spit in a jar.
I don't plug into this stuff, man.
I don't have a choice. I mean, I don't have a choice.
Yeah, but you get to make like content off of this. My content is just me just hanging out. So I don't have any stitches on any of this. I don't like do anything like there's a video and then I stitch it. I've never done one. It's just my girl interrupting me and I answer her questions.
Follow me for more interesting stuff.
This hilarious. So like, we're in weird times, man.
Yeah.
That's what reminds me of Idiocracy, though, is like, what was the hottest show?
The punch,
Kicked in the nuts.
Kicked in the nuts. Yeah.
Kicked in the nuts.
Ouch my balls. Ouch my balls. That's what it was called.
Yeah, ouch my balls. Oh,
Yeah.
like that's the hottest show is hitting the nuts
not
or something.
Far away.
This is it. We're selling farts and
spit in jars, and you know,
the OnlyFans they're not even responding. It's just somebody who handles the account for them. Yeah, really... we're really in the silliest of times.
We're there. And I hope that I would like to not allow Gen X to take responsibility for this. I would like to say that because we were here before those times, that it was the next generation that really cranked that up.
You can really go like, I wish I could claim it, but I don't even know how. I forgot my password.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
how do I?
My facial recognition doesn't even work anymore.
How do I reset? Old. How do I reset my password for my phone? Is it on Verizon? And you're like, no, it's a service provider. That's not the password. I pay Verizon, so they have my password. They're like, no, they don't. Listen, that's kind of like, this couldn't have been us. We don't even know how to do it.
It wasn't us. Definitely. But I do appreciate these younger generations making all these videos for me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't exist like this.
I'm a little concerned as soon as I want to start playing in that realm of like, let me comment on this video. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of when I know like I've got a lot more time on my hands all of a sudden, is when I'm like, I'm going to scroll this for a while.
Yeah, we call it doom scrolling.
I've heard it.
Yeah, don't get caught in it. I doom scroll for the purpose of finding material, so I can say that it's part of my job.
Yeah, your doom scrolling is giving you opportunity. I feel like I think I doom scroll for maybe like less than 3 minutes, and I'm already like over it.
Yeah,
I can't do it. I don't even run my social media. They tell me I'm viral. I'm like, that's great. Which platform? I don't even know. I don't care.
That's a good place to be. Stay out as long as you can.
Like, they're blowing up the comments. I'm like, let them fight. I'm not even getting involved.
No, it's good to let them fight. Yeah, if they want to, I usually get in the comments. If they start fighting, I egg it on a little bit.
Listen, I'm gonna put it out there for the fellas. There's a listen. I will say, and I've seen other like people who actually do like real helpful content. Ladies need to step it up, because a solid high 90% of the negativity in the comments is just the women. Like, there's just negativity, but I'm going to point it out there. I'm going to put it out there. Fellas are starting to hit back. They're starting to go like, no, we're not going to just sit around and let you hate monger everyone, Karen. We're going to shut that shit down. And like, there's a lot more guys going, nope, we're not going to just sit around and let you hate. We're going to go, no, there's merit to the conversation. You change the topic to create straw man arguments. We're not sitting around. We're not going to take it anymore. Yeah. And like the Twisted Sister song comes on, and
we're not gonna take it.
You're with me. And so now the guys are starting to go, nope, we're not going to let just Karen ruin everything anymore.
Unless they're married to her, and they will not do that.
Well, then they join my group, and I show them how to be compassionately and empathetically disagreeable, and then I've got you covered. Like, babe, I love you. I hear you. I don't agree with you at all.
The missus, that's what she does. She is a pot stirrer. She's a purposeful pot stirrer, and she doesn't really do much of her own content, but she trolls the crap out of mine for the purpose of starting crap. That's what she does. And professionally, she's pretty good at it. And I don't ever respond to her comments.
Yeah.
I just let that one go. That's not, because people are like, ooh, dad bod, she said that. I'm like, yes, she did.
Yeah. We're on troll patrol. We're not answering those ones. Like, that's a troll. We don't answer it.
But it's created this nice little family dynamic that we have in social media, and I enjoy it thoroughly.
That's a beautiful dynamic. That's what love is. And that's what love is, guys.
Yeah, she's like, I will be the quiet, supportive jockstrap in the background, and I'll just keep everything nice and tight, and I'll make sure that we keep the comments rolling.
Yeah. Once in a while, I'll just flick you in the ball just to let you know I'm there.
Just let you know I'm there.
Very fun, man. Well, John, I'm glad we got to do this. If there's anything else we can do in the future, I'm a little bit of a serious guest when I'm on a show. If you ever have me on, make sure we're doing comedy, because otherwise I'll do some deep work conversation and be talking about like hardcore shit. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. We'll be doing comedy for sure.
If there's ever any chance that I can do something to serve or I help you guys out, just let me know. But otherwise, man, it's been an honor to hang out with you, dude. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. This has been a blast.
Cool. Is there anything you want to promote real quick before we leave? Like where to go, like, subscribe, do all this stuff?
Like and subscribe on all the socials, the Dad Bod Veteran. YouTube is where I want you to be. So go head towards that. That's also where all my podcasts live and my live streams. So go hang out on YouTube with me.
Hit the buttons and do the things. Thanks a lot, brother.
All right, man.